Hey buddy, it's Mike here. Today we're talking about Diablo 4 and kind of the state of Diablo 4 in 2026. So since I last reviewed this game, tons have changed where almost my old review video is obsolete now. So I'm going to cover a lot of the new stuff they added for the end game and ultimately if it's worth getting back into Diablo 4 in 2026. As you know, they released a new Paladin class and I've been playing it and having tons of fun with it. And in this video, I'm going to answer the big question: is Diablo 4 worth getting back into in 2026? So they've pretty much enhanced the end game. And in this game, I'm really liking the variety of different stuff you can do in the end game. So I'm going to start off by, touching up some of the end game content, kind of the main stuff you're going to be doing when you hit max level, which is now level 60. Starting off with the nightmare dungeons. This is basically your repeatable high level dungeons where you get loot, and then you have your escalating nightmare dungeons. So this is basically a series of nightmare dungeons and you get better rewards the higher you go. And you have your capstone dungeons that progress your seasonal objectives. You have your Helltide rifts and chaos rifts, and this is basically world events. Alongside those world bosses, you have the pit, which is basically kind of a dungeon, but you have to push to complete it within a certain time. And you get kind of tiered rewards. And there's 200 different tiers of the pit, so that increases in difficulty. And the pit is basically the best way to get your masterworking materials to upgrade your weapons. So you basically have 15 minutes to clear all the monsters and defeat a boss. And if you die, there's a penalty to it. So that's the pit. And then you have those Helltide and Chaos Rifts. So these are basically world events, just like you have with the world bosses, but these are like more elite mobs, and this offers some of the really good loot in the game, and you can collect cinders, forgotten souls. They've also introduced Infernal hordes. So basically it's just horde style combat. And this is kind of another good way to get sort of your gear and lots of experience. There's the Cuirassed Undercity. This was introduced in Vessel of Hatred. So this is basically a dungeon. And in this dungeon, you're kind of racing against the time and you're completing events to kind of earn attunement, which can earn you better rewards, which lead to more unique bosses and better loot. And you can actually get some more of the recently introduced mythic gear in this one as well. It's a core endgame. And on top of that, you have your typical Whispers of the Dead. So this is pretty much what a lot of people were doing on the end game previously. And this is where I kind of got bored of the game. So yeah, you can still do the Whispers of the Dead. And this basically involves completing world events. And, for example, you can do a dungeon, which gives you 5 Whispers. And by when you get 10 whispers, you can unlock loot. So this is kind of this whole loop got kind of boring for me, and that's pretty much why I took a break. And then you have your boss layers. Now this is probably the fastest way to grind Paragon experience, and you don't really have to do too much if you have a good party. I know a lot of people just kind of AFK farm and they get tons of Paragon levels by doing this, and I think they should kind of fix this, because hey, it's kind of a cheesy way to get to like Paragon level 200. Once you're at Paragon level 200 though, it really starts to slow down. But I am finding with these boss layers, it's a great way to kind of boost other players, but it's just kind of detrimental to the whole grinding experience, right? I like the whole classic idea of going through dungeons and leveling up that way. But hey, if you want easy Paragon levels, boss layers is the way to go. Now, one kind of con I've noticed is how easy it is to get these unique and legendary drops, especially through the boss layers, right? You'll be joining a party and you will see like a sea of unique items on the floor. They just completely scattered the whole screen. And even with legendary drops, you'll be going through a dungeon and there'll just be a legendary drop every 2 seconds, and it'll completely fill your inventory. And of course, don't get me wrong, it's great to salvage those to get the materials that you need to upgrade your items, but I think it's a bit much. I think they need to tone down the amount of legendary and unique drops just to make them feel more exciting. I know they've introduced mythic items, and those are a lot more rare in terms of drops, but it is absolutely ridiculous how many legendary drops and unique drops you'll get on each run, right? So they should make it a little bit more difficult to get those really sought after items. And I understand what they're doing. Again, this game, the way they've crafted Diablo 4 how it is now, it's a lot about, min maxing your gear, upgrading your gear, adding different affixes to your gear. So it's not expected that you get a drop and then the item is like your best item. You're going to have to upgrade that item even if it's a mythic drop. This game encourages you to continuously upgrade, and I like that part of this game. You're going to continue, just like I previously mentioned, those various end game activities. A lot of them are good in their own certain ways, right? So, for example, the pit's a great way to get, a lot of those materials you need to upgrade, for example. The boss layers are really good to farm those chests to get a lot of uniques and get tons of Paragon experience. So I like the versatility in gameplay. It's not like you're doing the same thing like it was before. Like even last year when the Vessel of Hatred came out, you're literally doing the same thing. You were doing the whispers, and I was getting really bored with that. I love the variety of gameplay. I just think they need to make you really earn those uniques and legendaries a little bit more. Again, I think the drop rate is way too high. But as you could see, they introduced so much more to the end game right now. They introduced a party finder and just so much quality of life improvements. And I'm telling you, I'm really enjoying this new Paladin. I'm using like this hammer build, and this thing just absolutely takes so much damage. It's so much fun to play this Paladin. Just like it's a super powerful class, don't get me wrong. Just like when they introduced the Spiritborn. That being said, I think in this game now, I mean, it's not completely balanced, but I feel like each class has so much to offer. And I think this is the closest we've gotten to the game actually being, balanced within the different classes. I like the amount of different versatility in gameplay. So you're not doing the same thing. You're not doing the same activities. Like I said, and this is a Diablo game, of course. So you're going to have those set builds, those top builds, and everyone's going to be kind of following the same build. And I feel like they're going to the direction where there's a little bit more openness in how you create your character. But that being said, just like every other Diablo game, you have your meta builds that you want to aim at. And I like if they push towards having more versatility on how you build your character rather than having like one to two to three set builds for each class that work the best. So there's tons to do already with this end game, and when Lord of Hatred comes out in a few months, there's going to be even more to do. So I just love Diablo 4 right now. Obviously, it's not perfect. It's not that Path of Exile game that everyone wants it to be, but I'm really happy where it's at right now. And if you played, Diablo 4 when the game first came out, it might be harder for me to convince you to get back into it. But believe me, when it comes to like quality of life and, various things to do, they have improved this game so much, specifically when it comes to the end game. So highly recommend, jumping back in, giving it a shot, and you might get as hooked as I am. I'm having tons of fun playing as the Paladin, and you can even catch me on Kick or Twitch, and I'm always streaming this, so you can catch me there. Otherwise, I hope you liked this video. If it did, you found this helpful, please consider checking out my channel and subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.